4th of July, fireworks in the sky, but the truth's still buried underground. Royal Low, yeah. They told me, wave the flag while the chains still clank. Told me praise the names on the blood-soaked banks. Told me freedom was born in the room full of men who wrote liberty down while they own human skins. The fucking founding fathers and the myths they made. I don't pledge to the lie, I don't kneel to the page. You can light up the sky, I remember the smoke from the fields, from the ships, from the necks in the row. You call it independence, I call it selective. You call it patriotic, I call it protective. Of the story so fragile it cracks when questioned. Truth knocks once and they call it aggression. Yeah. Red for the blood they spill, white for the lies they told, blue for the bruises left on the bodies they sold. Don't ask me to celebrate what never included mine. I came with the receipts, I came to redraw the line. Fuck your founding fathers, I don't owe them praise. They built a nation on our backs, then told us smile through the pain. Fuck your founding fathers, let the fireworks cry. This ain't freedom for the people. If the truth still gotta hide, yeah. No justice, no peace, no lie gets crowned. We don't worship old ghosts when the roots scream loud. Fuck your founding fathers. On the 4th of July, I'm lighting up the truth while they light up the sky. They say, look how far we came. I say, look what it cost. Every courthouse got a shadow, every victory got lost. They gave statues to the takers, made heroes out of thieves. Put their faces on the money while the hungry couldn't breathe. Don't lecture me on freedom from a stolen land stage. Don't quote old documents with blood on the page. Don't tell me be grateful for a seat at the table when my people built the room and got treated unstable. You can't buy me through the truth, you can dress it in stars, but the anthem still echoes like chains behind bars. I don't hate the people, I hate the disguise. I hate when the guilty get praised as the wise. Red for the blood they spill, white for the lies they told, blue for the bruises left on the bodies they sold. Don't ask me to celebrate what never included mine. I came with the receipts, I came to redraw the line. Fuck your founding fathers, I don't owe them praise. They built a nation on our backs, then told us smile through the pain. Fuck your founding fathers, let the fireworks cry. This ain't freedom for the people. If the truth still gotta hide, no justice, no peace, no lie gets crowned. We don't worship old ghosts when the roots scream loud. Fuck your founding fathers. On the 4th of July, I'm lighting up the truth while they light up the sky. Don't call it hate when the wound speaks back. Don't call it division when our name was fact. Don't call it progress while the system still bites. Don't call it freedom if we still gotta fight. I'm not here for comfort, I'm not here to pretend. I'm here for the children who deserve better than this. Better than myths, better than chains, better than flags used to cover up pain. So this one's for the ancestors who never got rest, for the names never written but who gave us their best, for the mothers who prayed, for the fathers who ran, for the babies born fighting in the stolen man's plan. This is not disrespect, this is correction. This is not rebellion, this is resurrection. You can keep your parade, I keep speaking the truth. I don't need permission to remember my roots. Royal oak in the soil, truth in the flame. If the crown came with silence, then I don't want the name. But if the crown means standing when the whole world falls, then I'm 10 toes down till the real story's told. Fuck your founding fathers, I don't owe them praise. They built a nation on our backs, then told us smile through the pain. Fuck your founding fathers, let the fireworks cry. This ain't freedom for the people. If the truth still gotta hide, no justice, no peace, no lie gets crowned. We don't worship old ghosts when the roof scream loud. Fuck your founding fathers. On the 4th of July, lighting up the truth while they light up the sky. Fireworks fade, truth don't die. Royal low. 4th of July. Not your myth, not your lie, not your version of my life.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Shakur, and this is your Saturday Vitamins. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, so do me a favor. If you can hear me loud and clear, because I have my mic turned down just a bit, if you can hear me loud and clear, please put a 1 in the chat. If you can hear me loud and clear, please put a 1 in the chat. Can you all hear me? Okay, great. I have my mic turned down because it's really loud and glaring in my earphones. Okay, so that all being said, hello everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Shakur show. Now, with that all being said, let's see who's in here. Okay, Wayno, Jaden, Lillian X, Nyalindo Ariel. I hope I said that right. Ebony, Trisha. All right, let's get into it. Chris B, Sloan, Raymond, 57 Beige Fox, Stop the Spy, Truth Brown. I'd rather not say. Kiko Buffetti is here. All right, let's get into it. Sonja. All right, Truth Teller, Youngish Turnip, Slow Burn, Star Child, Ladybug, Mary J. Poetry Princess, Jerron, Andrea, Queen of Mona Huey, Simply Sandra. All right. So with that all being said, hey, Melanin Queen, Sweet and Sassy, Just Anticipate, Tanya. Okay, so shout out to all of my loyal royals and everyone tuned into the Queen, and a big shout out to my moderators, because y'all know they be putting in work. I see you, Ashkan, beloved. Okay, so with that all being said, let's have a brief word from my sponsor, 504 Nolan's in the house, Safety First, D Major. All right, Kay Washington, Leon, Chris B, Dangerous. All right, we're in the building. Okay, Nessa G, I see you, beloved. Xavius is here. Okay, Buckhurst DC and Son Fraz. Okay, so let's have a brief word from my sponsor and then we'll get right into it. This is going to be a long live, beloveds. Lights up, everyone, please, like and share.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
All right, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts, and you can also find her products at Walmart.com. Okay, and don't forget that she sells beard oil as well. So with that all being said, and without further ado, let's get ready to get back into it. Everybody hit that like button. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And also, if you have not been receiving your notifications, please double check to ensure that you're still subscribed, because you all know how it goes down on ScrewTube. And I want to apologize for being tardy, but trust me, this time, it's usually my fault, but this time it actually wasn't. StreamYard was tripping, okay? Said there was too much traffic. And I'm like, too much traffic this early on a Saturday? Okay, so y'all know how it is sometimes. All right, so let's get ready to get back into it, because it looks like the devils have nothing better to do than to go out and try to dig up dirt on Nolan's mother. Now, I want you all to pay attention, because they keep telling us that we're making it about race, but that's exactly what they're doing. I mean, because who else would be sitting up here trying to find dirt on a mother who's grieving? So now they've gone and tried to dig up some stuff about her losing her older 3 kids. Okay, so we're going to get into it. And there's these three guys that are having a whole conversation about it. So let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. I'm going to share my screen. I mean, it's the nerve of some people. It is the nerve of some people. My thing is this. Some of these people spend all of their time focusing on us and whatever we have going on, but they should be worried about themselves and their own community. Do they not have problems? Yes, of course they do. Every group does, no matter what your race or ethnicity is. Every group has problems. Every group has good and bad people. That's just how it goes. But for some reason, nefarious devils want to act like we're just the only ones that have anything that's going on that's wrong. Okay, but that goes back to what I told you all 1,000 times before. It's I'm white and I say so. That's what it is. So let's get ready to get into it. I'm going to share my screen, and then here you will see that above their heads on a looks like a projector, they have the Chancery Court cases link, and they have Nolan's mom's name on there. And apparently she wasn't married at the time because it just says Christine Wells. But these devils, I don't know how deep they had to dig to find this, but we already know what their motivation is. It's hate. It's victim blaming and shaming. And it's trying to re-victimize the victim by turning them into the villain in their own story. It's sad and absolutely pathetic. Okay, but let's get into it.
Looks like old Christine Wansley Wells lost custody, her three oldest children, to their father. And you got to understand in Mississippi how difficult it is for the man to get full custody
It's
of
been that
children.
way for a long time.
That's why I was a big supporter of this 50-50 thing.
Yeah.
And the fact it passed. And there's some people mad about it. I saw somebody in my DM the other day say, I wish you would talk about this 50-50 law passing and what it's going to do. I was like, I think it's great. I think it's phenomenal. Now, every case is going to be a little different, but at least the starting point is even. And then you go from there. Like, I don't think it's going to be this big lopsided thing that's going to hurt children. I think it forces everything to be looked at from a 50-50 standpoint, and then you can go from there. We're not going to talk about that right now. I want to talk about this. Oh, so in Mississippi, you got to be a really bad mom to lose custody of your kids. They're just going to come out and say that, but I will. You got to be a bad mom to lose custody to the man. You really do. So Air Fields dug into it. Like I said, we got the document up on the Mazda Jackson live stream there. It's a screenshot of the case and who the father is. Looks like old Christine Wansley Wells lost custody, her three oldest children, to their father. And you got to understand.
Now just listen to them. Sitting up there gossiping like females. Okay, so it's giving female feminine energy. That's what it's giving. They don't have anything better to do. There's nothing manly they can be out there doing besides gossiping. Okay? And here's the thing. Now, though they said that she lost custody, they didn't say why. Okay? They didn't say why at the end of the day. And who knows if it's even true. I mean, maybe it is true, but at the end of the day, that's none of their business, okay? These people love to paint narratives. Why don't they talk about some of these people who look like them, who adopt children who look like me, and then those children turn up dead? Why don't they talk about people like Chris Watts, who murdered his entire family? That includes his wife and his three beautiful children. Why don't they talk about that? You know what? I tell you what, I was going to talk about this last week, and then I got, caught up with the Nolan stuff. So how about this? How about, since they want to go there, how about I just talk about all of these people who look like them who murdered their whole families? Why don't we just do a whole thing on that, please? Make it all make sense. That's right. Grand old lady said real men don't gossip on the internet. They absolutely don't. It's egregious. Okay, where they do that at? Absolutely pathetic, if you ask me. Now, with that all been said, hold on. Let me put this upload up here so I can show this to you all later. Oh, so nefarious. Okay, I'm done with those uploads. Now, Here's the thing. Sarah Fields, the nefarious Sarah Fields. Ebony Plummer says Judge Ashley Cole is behind this allegedly. Oh, of course, because she's a judge at the Chancery Court. I mean, she could be, I don't know for a fact, but I wouldn't be surprised, is all I'm saying. Okay? I wouldn't be surprised. So, with that all being said, thank you for your insight into the topic and your contribution to the channel, beloved. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Now, here's what I want to say. So, the nefarious Sarah Fields, you all know who Sarah Fields is, right? She's the low down dirty devil that was going in on Neek at night when Neek went down there for Carmelo Anthony's trial in Frisco, Texas. And she's always trying to go in and dig up dirt on black folk. I heard that she was the one that was spearheading the information gathering against Miss Jonetta Bradley, the woman who cleaned up the audio, right? So now she stepped into the chat, and I haven't read this, but I just saw this as I was gathering my receipts, and I was just sending everything quickly. But it seems like she has some legal paperwork from says February the 6th of 2007. Okay, so you mean to tell me almost 20 years ago? Almost 20 years ago? That's interesting because Mrs. Christine Wansley looks very young. She looks younger than she obviously is because this paperwork says 2007. That's almost 20 whole years ago. Just like what they dug up on Janetta Bradley was a decade ago. Do these people not have skeletons in their closet? Well, of course they do. As you know, I believe I showed it to you. Someone dug up dirt on Sarah Fields. Okay, while she's digging up dirt, someone went and dug up her mug shot. All right, that's what they did. And I think it was something about her losing her kids or something nefarious. But here's the thing. Let's see what she's talking about. She has on here rumors versus records. The truth about Christine Wells' 12-year custody case. I don't know where this is going to go. Let's see here. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance. Now, so let's see what they're talking about here. Okay, so she says, let me see if I can read this paper. It says the defendant acknowledges paternity and he should be adjudged to the natural father of the minor child. Okay, that on or about blank, a set of male fraternal twins, namely blank and blank, was born out of wedlock unto James Briscoe and Christine Wells. The parties were not married at the time of the birth of the minor children, nor have they married since the birth of the minor children. James Briscoe, I can't see what that word is, that he is the natural father, and it leaves out the children's names, of course. Further, the defendant acknowledges paternity and he should be adjudged to be the natural father of the minor children. The defendant, James Briscoe, is a fit, proper person to have custody, and he has a fit and proper place for the minor children to live. That the defendant should be grateful the legal care, custody, and control of the minor children with reasonable visitation rights being granted to the plaintiff, Christine C. Wells. What? Hold on, let me read that again. That the defendant should be granted the legal care, custody, and control of the minor children with reasonable visitation rights being granted to plaintiff, okay, Christine C. Wells. Okay, thus continuing to serve the best interests of the minor children of the parties. Furthermore, the defendant should be allowed to claim the minor children herein for state and federal tax purposes. The urgent and necessary, I think that's what that says. I can't really see it. Circumstances exist herein that the plaintiff, Christine C. Wells, will not allow visitation between the defendant and the minor children herein. That the plaintiff, Christine C. Wells, is unstable. The plaintiff has unstable housing, unstable employment, and an inadequate place for the children to live, among other things that are detrimental to the minor child. Now, the said circumstances do not serve the best interests of the children, and the said circumstances are detrimental to the minor children. This is a temporary hearing, should be held therein. Now, that's what the paperwork says. Okay. But, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say if this was 19 years ago, almost 20, this lady was probably like 19 or 20 years old because she looks really young. I would have thought she was probably in her late 30s, mid to late 30s. So I'm just wondering how old she was then. Okay, so anyway, here's what Sarah Fields has to say because she's the one who posted this. And it says Sarah is censored. Okay, it says there are a lot of rumors and speculations circulating about Nolan Wells' mother, Christine Wells, and an old custody case involving her children. Some of the posts I have seen take a few pieces of the court docket and then fill in the blanks with assumptions. I have now obtained multiple actual court documents spanning more than a decade of this case, from the original custody litigation in 2007 through the final agreement in 2019. So instead of repeating rumors, I'm going to walk you through what the records actually show, what was merely alleged, what we still do not know, and how this case ultimately ended. So buckle up, she says. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Before I get into any of it, I need to make one thing very clear because I keep seeing people attempting to drag Nolan into this custody case. None of this involved Nolan Wells. His case involved Christine Wells and her 3 older children and James E. Briscoe Jr. Nolan was not one of the children involved in this custody proceedings or in these custody proceedings. Nothing I have reviewed establishes that any allegation made in this case involved Nolan or that anything alleged regarding these 3 children ever happened to Nolan. There is plenty contained in these records to investigate without inserting him into a custody case that had nothing to do with him. I have also seen claims that the state of Mississippi has been leaking Christine's court documents. I have found nothing supporting that allegation. The docket being circulated online comes from the Jackson County Chancery Court case inquiry system, and the screenshot itself is marked as public. Someone obtaining records from a public court system is not evidence that the state of Mississippi is secretly leaking someone's records. All records I have obtained are public record and subject to open record request. I will say that even though these are public records, I stay ethical in my reporting and I have redacted all minors' names and private information. Another claim being repeated is that Christine was judicially declared an unfit mother. I have not found an order saying that either. What I have found are some very serious allegations made against Christine by the natural father of these 3 children. There is a huge difference between allegations contained in one parent's court filing and findings made by a judge. And I'm going to make that distinction throughout my article. The original case began in January of 2007, and one detail immediately corrects part of the narrative circulating online. Christine was actually the plaintiff. She initiated the custody action. James E. Briscoe Jr. responded in February of 2007 with an answer, affirmative defenses, and counterclaims seeking custody himself. Briscoe acknowledged that he was the natural father of all 3 children, a daughter born in December of 2004 and twin boys born in April of 2006. The pleadings state that Christine and Briscoe had never married. They also give us some information about the family's living arrangements. According to Briscoe's filing before October 2006, the infant twins had lived with both Christine and James at an apartment in Pascagoula. Their older daughter had been living with her paternal grandmother. By approximately October 2006, according to Briscoe, all 3 children were living with Christine in Moss Point. This is where Briscoe's counterclaim becomes much more concerning. And before anyone takes these quotes and runs with them, I want to be perfectly clear. These are allegations made by James Briscoe in a court filing. I am not representing them as proven facts or judicial findings. Now, let me tell you all something. I want you all to pay attention to how Sarah Fields is reporting this. Now, I don't want you all to think that she's just being nice and sweet. Okay, that she's all of a sudden turned over a new leaf, because she has not, I'm so sure. What she's doing is she's obviously telling it the way that it's supposed to go, for the simple fact that she knows that Christine Wells Wansley is working with Ben Crump. Okay, that's what she knows. And Ben Crump doesn't play the radio, and she knows that too. Okay, and if there's any type of defamation, slander, or libel, I'm sure she knows that there will be consequences and repercussions. So please don't think she's being nice and kind, because she never is. Okay, she never is. And I saw some silly Black folk. That's why I wanted to really see what this was all about. Okay, because I saw some silly Black folks saying, oh, this just goes to prove that you're not biased. At least you're reporting it honestly. Well, she doesn't want to get sued. That's what that is. Okay. So anyway, goes on to say Briscoe alleged that urgent and necessitous circumstances existed. Okay, he claimed Christine will not allow visitation between the defendant and the minor children herein, but his allegations went well beyond a father complaining he wasn't being allowed to see his children. Briscoe specifically alleged that the plaintiff, Christine C. Wells, is unstable. He further stated the plaintiff has unstable housing, unstable employment, and an inadequate place for the children to live, among other things that are detrimental to the minor child. He then said that the said circumstances do not serve the best interest of the children, and the said circumstances are detrimental to the minor children. Well, I find that interesting because what this sounds like to me is probably just a paternity battle or a custody battle, I mean, where someone is just upset. Now, Briscoe specifically alleged, oh, I read that part. Hold on, beloveds. Those are serious allegations, particularly when you understand just how young these children were at the time. Now, when Briscoe filed his counterclaim in early 2007, the oldest child was barely 2 years old, and the twins were only around 9 months old. These were babies and toddlers. Now, Briscoe wasn't simply going for or asking for more visitation. He specifically asked the court to give him the legal care, custody, and control of the minor children, with Christine receiving reasonable visitation. He alleged that he was a fit and proper person to have custody and argued that placing the children with him would serve the best interest of the minor children. He also asked that Christine be required to pay child support and a portion of the children's uninsured expenses. Now, I'm going to tell you what this sounds like to me. And I don't know because I wasn't there, but I'll tell you what it sounds like. It sounds like to me this man probably didn't want to pay child support himself. Okay? That's what that sounds like. That's what that sounds like. Like maybe he didn't want to pay child support himself. But let's continue. Likes up, everyone please like and share. Now goes on to say, and then he's asking her for child support. So again, Briscoe making those allegations does not establish that they were all true, but it establishes something important that shouldn't be ignored. Concerns about Christine's stability, housing, employment, and the children's living circumstances were being raised by the children's father in court in 2007. The allegations weren't created on social media after Nolan's death. Then we get to what I consider one of the most interesting portions of this entire case. On August the 22nd of 2007, the parents entered an agreed temporary order giving Christine and Briscoe joint legal and physical custody of the children. At the same time, attorney Wendy C. Hollingsworth was appointed guardian ad litem, commonly called GAL or GAL. Okay, so goes on to say this is brought into a custody case to focus on the interest and welfare of the children, considering that these were 3 extremely young children and that serious allegations had already been made regarding their circumstances. Now, the gal's involvement is important. Then on September the 13th of 2007, the docket shows a motion for extension of time to file guardian ad litem report. Now, in other words, there was a gal report being prepared and additional time was requested to file it. This lady doesn't have anything to do. She's always digging. Let me tell y'all something. This lady does not have anything else to do because she's always digging up and all through some Black person's business, trying to expose someone. That's what she's always doing. She should be more concerned about herself and her own community, if you ask me. Now, it goes on to say, so exactly 3 weeks later, on October the 4th of 2007, another agreed order was entered. Now, this time, James E. Briscoe Jr. was established as the natural father of the 3 children. Briscoe received legal custody and Christine received visitation. So, sequence of events. Christine and Briscoe have joint legal and physical custody. A guardian ad litem is appointed and a GAL report is being prepared. Additional time is requested to file the report. Exactly 3 weeks later, the father has legal custody and Christine has visitation. And now, considering the ages of these children, I find that outcome noteworthy. Their oldest child wasn't even 3 years old, and the twins were approximately a year and a half old. Ultimately, the court entered an arrangement placing legal custody with her father instead of continuing the joint legal and physical custody arrangement that had existed only 3 weeks earlier. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. I do consider that a loss for Christine. I do consider that a loss for Christine. She went from joint legal and physical custody to the father having legal custody while she had visitation. But there is an extremely important detail that needs to be included if we're going to report this accurately. The October order was an agreed order. That means I cannot tell you that a judge conducted a contested custody trial, heard all the evidence, declared Christine unfit, and independently stripped her of custody. The documents I have reviewed do not say that. They established that an agreed order was entered giving Briscoe legal custody and Christine visitation. And frankly, that leaves me with an even bigger question. What happened between August 22 and October the 4th that resulted in Christine going from joint legal and physical custody of 3 very young children to agreeing to an arrangement where their father had legal custody and she had visitation? Well, why is it your business again? Sitting directly in the middle of that period is the guardian ad litem investigation, and sitting exactly 3 weeks before the custody change is a request for additional time to file the GAL report. Do I find that interesting? Absolutely. Do I want to know what Wendy Hollinsworth found? Absolutely. But I do not currently have that GAL report, and therefore I am not going to pretend I know what it says. Now, I cannot tell you that the GAL found Christine dangerous, abusive, neglectful, or unfit. I cannot tell you that the GAL substantiated Briscoe's allegations. And I cannot tell you that the GAL recommended that Briscoe receive custody. On November the 28th of 2007, the docket shows an order concerning the guardian's ad litem fees and expenses. Then in March of 2008, the case came back before the court for a review hearing pursuant to the October the 4th agreed order. Now, March the 27th of 2008 agreed judgment states that Christine and Briscoe reached an agreement regarding the remaining issues of child support, medical insurance, dental insurance, life insurance, and other related matters. Christine was ordered to pay Briscoe $66 per week and child support for the 3 children, beginning April the 4th of 2008. They were also ordered to equally share uninsured medical, dental, pharmaceutical, ocular, physical, psychological, psychiatric, and other related medical expenses. Then, almost a decade later, in 2017, James Briscoe returned to court asking an increase in the $66 per week support obligation Christine had ordered to pay him. He alleged a substantial and material change in circumstances, including that what he described as a significant increase in Christine's salary. This was likely related to the fact that Christine was now a licensed nurse. He also argued that the children's expenses had increased as they grew older, specifically mentioning expenses involving food, clothing, band, sports, instruments, and uniforms. You know what I think? I think it's really pathetic when grown-ass men ask women for child support. Yeah, that's what I think. I find that so ridiculous. It's just my opinion. Because here's the thing. Now, we know that women collect child support from men, but a grown-ass man needing child support, and there's also plenty of women that are single moms who do it by themselves. They get it out the mud, or the men don't even do anything. Okay? So that's just all crazy to me when I see a man asking for child support. Okay? That's what I find interesting. Now, with that all being said, then 11 years after the original custody change, the case took another turn. In 2018, Christine sought to modify custody and initially obtained an order giving her custody of the 3 children. The court subsequently determined that James Briscoe had not been properly served with the required Rule 81 summons. Because of that procedural problem, the June 2018 custody modification was set aside. That means they pretty much dismissed it. The prior arrangement was reinstated and the children were ordered returned to Briscoe until a trial could be held on the remaining issues. The court also ordered the children to remain in the Ocean Springs school system because it found doing so was in their best interest. So the court gets to tell people what's in their best interest. This is honestly sad to me. This means they went from his household to her household, then back to his household. Being jerked around in the system is never a good life for children. Sarah, please shut the hell up. We know you don't care. Okay, please stop. Now, the order giving Christine custody was set aside because of a procedural service problem. I have not seen evidence that the judge vacated it because the court made a new finding that Christine was unfit or that Briscoe was the superior parent. And then we finally get to the end of the story. So in January of 2019, Christine and Briscoe reached an agreed final order providing for joint legal and joint physical custody of all three children. Now, under that agreement, the children would alternate between Christine and Briscoe on a week-to-week basis. Neither parent would pay child support because each parent would be responsible for the children's expenses during his or her respective custody periods. That ended matters. If someone tells you Christine lost her children in 2007 and stops the story there, they are spreading misinformation to sensationalize this story. I fully understand that accusations and horrific threats have been made so far in this case, but we do not need to lower ourselves to their standard by spreading more misinformation. To whose standard? Of which she speaks. And since when doesn't she spread misinformation? I have several questions, Sarah. I have several questions. So all of a sudden she doesn't spread misinformation, please. I beg to differ is all I'm saying. So anyway, it goes on to say she did not lose joint custody. The joint custody arrangement she had in 2007 when Briscoe received legal custody and she received visitation. That arrangement remained significant for years, and Christine was still paying Briscoe child support under the 2008 judgment when he sought an increase in 2017. But Christine later sought custody again, and by January of 2019, the parents ultimately agreed to equal joint legal and physical custody. So after going through the records, here is where I stand. Yes, the father of Christine's three older children made serious allegations against her involving instability, housing, employment, and what he described as circumstances detrimental to their very young children. Yes, Christine went from joint legal and physical custody to an arrangement giving the father legal custody and giving her visitation. Yes, a guardian ad litem was provided or was appointed shortly before that happened, and the timing of the Gal report and subsequent custody change is interesting. It goes on to say, yes, Christine was subsequently ordered to pay the father child support, and that arrangement was still being litigated nearly a decade later. But no, I have not found an order declaring Christine an unfit mother. No, I do not have evidence establishing that every allegation Briscoe made against her was true. And no, I do not know what the guardian ad litem ultimately found or recommended. And most importantly, no one of this involved Nolan Wells. Nolan was not one of the children involved in this custody case. These proceedings concerned Christine's three other children with James Briscoe. Trying to take allegations made regarding those children in 2007 and retroactively attaching them to Nolan is not good reporting. We are above that. Oh, really? Y'all hear that? All of a sudden she's on a high horse looking low. The actual court record is interesting enough without embellishing it. Facts are facts, allegations are allegations, rumors are rumors. My job is to tell which is which. I have all court documents because it is an overwhelming amount of documents. I will be placing them on a thread on my X account and share them. This lady is something else. This lady is something else. So what do you all have to say about this? I mean, like I told you all, the link that devils will go to. Okay, let me go to her account. Hold on, beloveds. Likes up. Everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Well, let me go see if I can find these documents, and I'm not going to go over them right now. I just want to get them if she has them out there so I can look over them for myself. Bottom line is, this was almost 20 years ago, so it just makes no sense as far as I'm concerned. The only ones who care about stuff like that are people like Sarah Fields. That's who. Talk about she's a voice for the voiceless. Hold on, let me see here. Okay, I'll look for them later. I don't want to dig through all this stuff right now. I have better things to be doing, like getting through this live. Okay, so now with that all being said, let's talk about they love to attack us at every angle. Of course they do. Of course they do. They can't help themselves, these MAGA minions. Now, with that all being said, let's talk about some of these cases, okay? Because you see all of these people on the screen. All of these people lost their lives. They were found hanging. They were found as strange fruit, every last one of them. And there's more. And there was particularly a young man that I wanted to report on. I read his story. I talked about it on Facebook about somewhere around 2016 to 2018, if I'm not mistaken. But I can't find his story. And his name was Cody. I can't remember his last name. That's maybe why I can't find it. But he was biracial. He had a white mother and a black father. And his name was Cody. And it was a sad story, but I can't find it, unfortunately. Now, with that all being said, let's talk about the lives of these people who became strange fruit. And that's nothing new here in this country. We already know it. We already know it. And for one thing, two of these people were unnamed. So I find that very interesting, seeing as how one of them was only 17 years old. So nobody claimed this poor child. 17 years old. 17 years old. Let's get into it. And I just want you all to know, for the record, every last one of these people up here that you see, I reported on every last one of them except for one. And that's because I never heard of her. That's why I'm reporting on her today. Okay. With that all been said, it's a young lady named Soraya Henderson. I never heard of her case until today. So let's get into it. I'm going to go to this article about the unknown victim. Teen found dead in apparent self-deletion in the spring. Let's get into it. And I'm sure the details are scarce in most of these situations. So they say, now this happened in Spring, Texas. Harris County Sheriff's officials said a 17-year-old was found dead in an apparent self-deletion on a Tuesday night. The teen was found hanging from a tree outside Erdhart Elementary School, part of the Klein Independent School District, in the 6600 block of Rosebrook Lane. Now, who would do something like that? You're going to not only take someone's life, but you're going to do it so that children, sweet little innocent children, can see them when they come to school. Anyway, goes on to say Klein Independent School Police were called to the elementary school grounds at around 8:10 p.m. They said someone told them the teen was hanging from a tree in the playground. I remember listening to the 911 call. I don't think it was to this one. I'm thinking it was to Lennon Lacey. But anyway, the teen was pronounced dead at the scene. Homicide investigators were able to review school surveillance cameras and found no signs of foul play. Y'all believe that? Because I don't. Harris County Sheriff's investigators said the teen had a history of self-deletion attempts with one attempt as recently as a few weeks ago. So that's what they reported. Our deputies responded to Earhart Elementary yesterday at 8:10 p.m. after they were informed by a witness of a 17-year-old male found hanging from a tree in the playground area. Homicide investigators were able to review surveillance cameras and found no signs of foul play. Yeah, I would like to see those cameras that they reviewed, because I don't believe them. I don't believe them. I think it's very convenient for them to say that, oh, yeah, there were cameras there, but we didn't see anything on the cameras. Well, why didn't they show the cameras publicly? Why didn't they show the cameras and the footage publicly? Because they absolutely could do that, They absolutely could do that. So why didn't they? Because it's likely a lie, in my opinion. I just don't believe it. I don't think that anyone, let alone a black person, no matter their age, is going to hang themselves from a tree. Okay? I mean, we all know that's egregious without our parents even telling us, even though they still should. I'm just saying. It's common sense. Now, Asa Catano says, Queen trying to help regarding wig and putting comments daily about daily video being original or live streams by you. A CAI video summary in more tab. Well, thank you, beloved. I appreciate you, honey. I need all the help I can get, y'all, because wig just does what wig does. Okay. I appreciate you, beloved, for your due diligence. Okay. Thank you for that. And thank you for your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Isn't it a shame that you have to go through such things? But, it is what it is. Now, that all being said, let's talk about Michaela Miller. This was a young trans teen, okay? Or she was queer. They say she was queer. I don't know why, but I just don't like that word. Police say this black queer teenager took her own life. Advocates believe she was lynched. Okay, and that's just what it was. I mean, who do they think they're fooling? And that's the thing. They play right in our faces and don't even care whether we believe it or not because they know darn well we don't believe it. But they just do it because they know they can get away with it. They just know it because they have a whole system of wanton supremacy that right up until now, 2026, we still can't do anything about. So May the 19th, the death of 16-year-old Michaela Miller has been ruled self-deletion following questions about the circumstances leading up to her mysterious passing. 16 years old. The Middlesex District Attorney's Office announced the results of an autopsy from the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner in Massachusetts on Wednesday. And Miller's body was discovered hanging from a tree in the Boston suburb of Hopkinton by a local jogger April the 18th. Now, family members and advocacy groups called for an investigation into Miller's death as she had reportedly been accosted by a group of students just hours before she was found. Some speculated that she had been lynched. Well, that's what it sounds like. And who are these people that she was accosted by? Authorities are currently conducting an investigation with the district attorney's office. It's active and ongoing despite the medical examiner's report. We will continue to explore every investigative angle necessary as we do that work and intend to issue a complete and thorough report at the conclusions of the investigation. This is what a representative for the DA said in a statement. Listen, this is just also egregious. And a lot of times I think they absolutely know who did what, and they just don't want to say anything. So it goes on to say a black queer teenager was found hanging from a tree in Hopkinton, Massachusetts, a predominantly white town, and this happened last month. The mysterious circumstances surrounding her death had prompted calls for an investigation, as well as allegations that police have mishandled the case. Don't they conveniently seem to do that in all the cases where black people show up, dead, having drowned accidentally, or being a strange fruit? Now, Michaela's body was discovered the morning of April 18th after she reportedly got into a fight with two other teens. I bet the teens didn't look like her. Miller's mother, Calvina Struthers, alleged that police in Hopkinton, a town of just under 15,000 people, 36 miles outside of Boston, dismissed her daughter's death as a self-deletion. She added that an unnamed officer warned Struthers not to go to the press, or Miller's sexuality would be exposed. Now I want y'all to pay attention to that. Do y'all hear this? Do y'all hear this? This is what they do to black people who are grieving the loss of a loved one. Threatened her not to go to the media, or we're going to tell everybody your daughter was queer. This is what they say. This is what they claim this person told her. So anyway, absolutely crazy. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. My concern is, did they really thoroughly look at the crime scene? This is what Struthers told the paper. Or did they just dismiss it because she's a black girl on a tree in Hopkinton? Well, that's likely why. That is absolutely likely why. I think it's time for some Black folk to have some very uncomfortable truths. Now, I don't think it's anyone in my chat, of course, but clearly there are some of our people who need to get a wake-up call. Okay, someone needs to tell them something, because how is it that our people keep just going off and being the lone person? So, a large crowd of community members gathered at a rally and candlelight vigil on Thursday to call on police to fully investigate Miller's death, which many believe was a lynching. Organized by Boston City Councilor Tito Jackson and the advocacy group Violence in Boston, the attendees demanded information from Middlesex County District Attorney Marion Ryan concerning the teen's death and chanted Miller's name. Now, it seems to me, let me pull this up on the screen. It just seems to me like everybody's just turning on Black folk. And I just don't get it at all.
Say her name.
Hold on. Is this playing music, you guys? Because I can't hear it. Mel said it's MAGA. Sounds like it. Sounds like it.
Say her name. 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 Say her.
So egregious. Prayers and condolences to all these people who lost their lives. A 16-year-old child. Okay, and no justice. They just said, oh, nothing to see here. She took her own self out. Please. Okay. At the end of the day, even if someone had attempted to take their own life before, and then they were later found swinging from a tree, I'm still not gonna believe they did it. I'm just not. Or what I will think, the first thing that'll come to my mind, and I think it's rightfully so that I feel this way. I think the first thing that would likely come to my mind would be that some devils, MAGA million types, Confederates, that they may have known that the person tried to do something to themselves before, or that they had a history of being mentally unstable or whatever, and use that as their justification for what they do. I can't substantiate that, but it's absolutely what I think. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Now let's talk about Mr. Otis Gully. They called him TT, by the way. And he was trans. So over 600,000 demand answers in the death of TT or Teets Gully, a Black trans woman. Now, questions remain a year after Black transgender woman Teets Gully's body was found hanging from a tree in Portland Park. Police claim it was self-deletion as usual, but the family was told Gully was murdered and that there's a video. Do y'all hear this? Let me tell y'all something. Now, this is really about to tick me off. Here's the thing. How often do we hear about these stories and then find out that there's a video or some white person who admitted to it? Let's talk about the young man, Justice Jackson or Justice Johnson, down there in Albany, Georgia, at the Job Corps place. You all remember that? Justice was his name. I reported this a few weeks ago. Now, they said that there was a white guy, I think he was like 18 or 19, a white teen that was down there, and said he was online admitting to doing it. Justice Kai James, that's his name, and said that he admitted to doing this and said he was on social media bragging about it and whatnot. No one did any darn thing. They, in fact, allegedly threatened the students there and told them that if they kept talking about it, they were going to be kicked out. That's what they said. That's what they said. This was just back in June. This was just back in. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Hold on. This is just absolutely crazy. Hold on. I'm going to share my screen.
Well, you just heard
The
there from Chastity James, the
will
aunt of
be
a student found
exclusive.
dead
The
outside
family
the
of a student
cafeteria
found
of
dead
Turner
on
Job
Turner
Corps in
Job Corps
Albany over the
campus
weekend.
is calling
Authorities
for
say the
transparency.
students
The
found
family came
21-year-old
to Albany.
Justice James
Hold on. Why do I
unconscious
hear two things
outside the
playing?
campus cafeteria before 10 Sunday night. He was taken to the hospital where he later died.
Albany Police Chief Michael Pursley
Hold on,
describes
hold
the
on.
death as suspicious, but investigators are
Metro
not
Atlantic.
ruling out suicide. Officials further said that James went to the hospital for a dislocated shoulder earlier that same day, but witnesses on campus said that he was, quote, acting strange and described him as a normally quiet person.
To
His death
try and
caused
get
an
answers
uproar
from
on
both.
social media and even
Hold
led
on,
to
this is
students
not making any sense.
protesting
I'm trying
and
to figure
demanding
out. Hold on,
transparency.
beloveds. Hold on, honey. I'm trying to figure out. Why am I hearing two things playing? This is weird. I don't know why, but I'm hearing two different audios playing at the same time. Hold on.
On this situation.
When I saw the news and they
They'll
tried
be
to say
exclusive.
suicidal
The
when I
family of a
first seen
student
it, I'm
found dead
like,
on Turner Job Corps
no
campus
way.
is
I
calling
don't
for
see that. I don't
transparency.
see that.
The family came to
I don't
Albany
see
from
that.
the Metro Atlanta
I
area
feel like
yesterday
it's more to
to
the
try and
story, and I
get
just want
answers
to
from
know.
both
I just
law
want
enforcement
answers to
and
what
the
happened to
federally
him.
funded trade
I want to
school.
know what happened to
This
my
is all in
baby.
connection to the death of 21-year-old
The
Justice
family
James,
addressed social
who
media
was found
rumors that
unconscious
Justice
on
was
campus
murdered,
late
but
Sunday.
Albany
Doherty
police say
County
no one
Coroner
has been
Michael Ballard
arrested,
told
though many
WALB today
though there have
that
been many
preliminary
questions. The family
autopsy
says that
results
Turner
show
Job Corps
an
officials
apparent
told them a
suicide,
student
but he
has
says
been
he's still
removed from
waiting on
campus
the
and is not
toxicology
allowed
results.
back.
Now, in response, the
And the way they
Department of
trying to
Labor
say it
spokesperson
happened
issued a
with
statement
saying
saying,
that
quote,
he
the
was
Office
hung or
of Job
something or
Corps was
strangled.
saddened to
Like, ain't
learn
no
of the
way.
tragedy at the
Ain't no
Turner
way.
Job Corps Center. We are
Ain't no way.
actively
How could he
reviewing
do
the
that to
incident
himself
to
for one
determine the
with his
center's compliance
fling? And
with
he's been
safety, security,
happy.
and student
He's been
accountability
happy.
protocols,
He's been a
given the
happy
center's
kid
response to
all
serious
year.
incidents. Now, the Department of
The
Labor
U.S.
remains
Department of
committed
Labor
to
says it's
transparency
reviewing its
and student
safety,
safety and
security,
is
and student
available to provide
accountability
additional
protocols
information
at the
consistent
campus
with
following James's death. And the
applicable
family says they feel
federal
changes
privacy
in those
laws, end
areas
quote.
are necessary.
Doherty County Coroner
Loved
Michael
ones are
Fowler
also
says an
demanding to see the
autopsy
video
will
footage from the day the
is
21-year-old was
underway.
found.
Turner Job Corps confirmed the
I
Department of
feel
Labor
like
is
that
assisting
either
APD with the
detective or the school,
investigation.
someone should be
We'll
able to
continue to
show
stay on
me
top of this developing
that,
story
hey,
and bring you any new details as we learn them.
he went here or somebody did this to him. This is not a
Granger
good
offers
feeling to send your
professional-grade
child somewhere
products, easy
to
ordering,
better
and next-day
themselves,
delivery,
and they don't
making
come
them
home.
the go-to play for everyone keeping arenas game day ready. Call, click, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
There you can also find our extensive coverage
Oh, is
of
that
this
what it
case,
is?
including the
Okay.
protests held by students also demanding more
Well, new at 5:30
transparency.
today, the
Yeah, it was. I don't know how that was crazy. Okay, I turned off my camera to try to figure out what in the world was going on. So yeah, that was absolutely them because when I turned that off, it turned off it turned off all of it. Okay, so sorry about that. That was just a terrible video. Okay, so but yes, I reported on Justice Kai James back in June when it first happened. This is all really crazy. We keep hearing these things, and it's like it's becoming more and more normalized. And I just don't want Black people to get to the point that this is normal. Like this is just something that we should get used to because we should never get used to it. Okay, something definitely has to be done. That's why we need to boycott. This is just getting out of hand. Now, let's talk about Randy Dudley, a Black queer man who was found dead on Burnell. Now, Bernal, remembered as a shining star, an unapologetic force of nature, a reflection of a disco ball in the sunlight, a man who lit up any room he walked into. Randy Dudley lived multitudes. He helped to direct television shows and created iconic fashion statements. He worked in radio and bars and in theater. He taught, he learned, he advocated. Friends and family knew Dudley as their personal cheerleader. His motto was F that noise, and he encouraged those around him to make the most of their circumstances, fight for themselves, and often to just get up and dance. Now, with that all being said, let's move on to Javion McGee. Oh, and by the way, I should have shown you all his picture. This is him right here at the bottom right, where you see my logo. You heard it here first. That's him right there. That's him right there. So There are so many of these. Oh, here's his picture right here. I could have just shown you. I thought I had deleted it. There's just so many of these stories. It's really disheartening. Like I said, that's him. Now let's continue. Now there's a video that I want to show you all about a young man, and I actually reported on this young man years ago on Facebook. His name was Lennon Lacey. Lennon Lacey was 17 years old. He was a football player, and he was dating this white woman who was 31 years old. Now I don't know what his mom was thinking by letting him do this. This was in 2014. I reported this in 2016 on Facebook, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, hanging death of Bladenboro teen attracting more national attention. The August death of a Bladenboro teenager found hanging from a swing set in a rural part of southeastern North Carolina is continuing to attract national attention. Journalist Katie Couric recently profiled Lacey's death as part of her new reporting project with Yahoo, and as the nation reacts to recent decisions not to pursue criminal charges in the death of two other Black men. That would be Eric Garner of New York and Mike Brown of Ferguson, Minnesota, or Ferguson, Missouri. Now, The Guardian, a newspaper based in London, wrote about Lacey's death in October. Lacey's August 29th death has been treated as a self-deletion, and local authorities have said they don't have any evidence that he was killed. And that's all a load of BS. Okay, that's all a load of BS. Now, you know what? I'm not even going to read the rest of this. I'm just going to go to this video. It's about 11 minutes long, where they tell you all about what happened to Lennon Lacey. 17 years old. And this was reported by ESPN 10 years ago. I'm waiting for this to load. Okay, here we go. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance.
Deep in the swamps of Bladenboro, North Carolina, vultures circle the marshes, and trees with bent branches bear the history of a notorious past. A past whose ugly imagery returned to Bladenboro in an unlikely setting last August.
Thornton County Communications, Patty.
Patty,
Yeah.
now I need EMS. I have a man hanging from a swing set.
The male subject hanging from the swing.
Yeah, he's hanging himself. Oh, God, Patty. Oh, Lord.
Do you have anyone there with him, or you can cut him down from the swing? We need to see if he's breathing.
He's not breathing, Patty.
Police identified the boy as 17-year-old Lennon Lacey, a linebacker for West Bladen High School, whose home opener was that night. His mother, Claudia, ID'd the body.
And it was just disbelief to me. And I said to myself, I said, whoever did this, he didn't do it to himself.
Within a week of his death, local and state police completed their investigation.
They came and told me they suspected it was suicide, self-inflicted hanging.
The medical examiner's report listed the official cause of death as asphyxia by suicide.
Claudia, how would you describe the police investigation into your son's death?
Quick. Too quick to say suicide.
The family says when Lacey was found, the shoes on his feet, without laces and a size and a half too small, were not his. Neither were the belts found around his neck.
Well, they said he was found here.
Pierre is Lennon Lacey's older brother.
The two straps that were tied together, they were tied together somehow, and then one was actually wrapped around this end, the other one was fed through this loop. And the way the blue part of the strap, the way it works is you would have to physically hold it together, the noose part to put your head in, you would have to hold it and then like jump into it
So you're saying it's physically impossible for him to have put the belts around his neck in the manner that they were fastened?
That's correct.
We have reasons, both empirically, both historically, to be suspicious and to demand a thorough federal investigation.
The North Carolina NAACP took up the cause with a march through downtown Bladenboro. Among the marchers was Lacey's friend and teammate, Jaquan Ross.
And I just couldn't believe it, man, you know. And the story that was behind it, I just knew it wasn't right. I just knew it wasn't right.
All right, Chief.
Yes, sir.
We're going to be here.
Yes, sir.
We're going to push you. But it ain't because of hate. It's because we simply want the truth. We want all of the things to come out. All right?
Bladenboro Chief of Police, Chris Hunt, declined to speak to Outside the Lines. The family, however, provided him with this document, which outlined several key leads they developed. Among them, that a white male who Lacey had allegedly beaten up months earlier for stealing Lennon's phone had threatened him, saying he was going to kill and hang him. Lacey's mother says race might have played a role for another reason.
Because he was in an interracial relationship. He was dating a white lady that was 31 years old.
Do you think Lennon's death has anything to do with the fact that you two were seeing one another?
I don't believe so.
Michelle Brimhall, now a 32-year-old mother of three who has since moved to Illinois, had quietly been seeing Lacey for several months leading up to his death.
And what was his family's reaction to your relationship?
They didn't approve, but at the same time, they didn't stop him from seeing me either.
Don't be calm. Be concerned. A child has died. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
The march in Bladenboro last December coincided with the FBI's announcement that it was re-examining the suicide ruling.
What kind of a town is Bladenboro, North Carolina?
It's an old town. It's a town in the deep south. It's a rural town. It's a town that has a history of race. In fact, the place where Lennon was found hanging, older African Americans will tell you that black people used to not walk that side of town. There are people here that know that because there's a number of lynchings in this community way back.
The way Lacey died brought back scenes from the darkest days of the Old South, when racial hangings were front-page news. A rush to judgment ensued on the internet, linking Lacey's death to that history of lynching. But Lacey's friends say, growing up here, they never experienced that type of racism.
You've never had any personal experience with the Klan. You're laughing. It sounds like a funny question to you, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, to be real, I don't think it's nothing to blame her like that. Because being growing up around white people my whole life, white cultures, I got white friends, like don't discriminate, and nobody's like that.
The Lacey case.
Now, did you all hear what that young man just said? He said he has white friends and they don't discriminate. There's nobody's like that. These are people that just don't get it. And their parents obviously didn't teach them. Okay? Their parents didn't teach them. And see, that's the problem. A lot of these younger generation people, they just really don't think that it is what it is. But they're going to find out. And their parents should be teaching them and telling them. You see, they're not looking at all of these news reports or these TikTok videos or whatever about these hangings and these supposed accidental drownings. They're not paying attention to this, and they think it's nothing to see here, folks. Their parents have clearly not talked to them about it. What are they talking about? There's nobody's like that. They sound like that fool down there from Ocean Springs. And they're sitting there laughing when someone's asking them about the Klan. It's nothing funny. Okay, the Klan is still alive and active, and they've already told us that. The only thing is they're not walking around in hoods and sheets. Okay? Please pay attention.
May be more about Bladenboro's present than its past. When Michelle Brimhall first came to town following a divorce, she stayed here at the home of Carla Hudson and Dewey Sykes. And it was here that she met Lennon Lacey, a close friend of the couple's son, Trey.
Did your relationship with Lennon at any point become a subject of conversation with Carla Hudson and Dewey Sykes?
Yes, they didn't approve.
Did they say something to you?
Yes, they said that they didn't like the age difference, and Dewey didn't like black and white mixing.
He said that to you?
Mhm.
Outside the Lines approached Dewey Sykes in December to ask him about Brimhall and Lacey. You did know Lennon very well. He was at your house a lot, right? Yeah. Don't you want to talk about that with us?
You need to go. I'm calling the law.
No, she says that guy Dewey told her that he didn't like race relations or mixing or whatever. And she doesn't think he may have had something to do with it. Okay, she's either in denial or just covering up for those same people, honey. Because I'm going to tell you something. They stay on code now. Okay, they absolutely do.
After falling out with the couple, Brimhall moved next door to Lacey's apartment complex. Where did Michelle Brimhall live, Whitney?
She lived right over there at apartment 16.
Whitney Michael lives with the Lacey family and says she watched a steady stream of traffic pull up to Michelle Brimhall's door.
You would see cars lined up in the parking spots or lined up, just parking their cars right along there, in and out, different guys, different vehicles, back and forth at her house. I'm not slow, so I put 2 and 2 together. Yeah.
Had Lennon put 2 and 2 together?
He did in a way, but he was in denial.
But, she says, that denial turned to despair after a conversation Lacey had with Carla Hudson at her home. Specifically, what were some of the things he said that he had heard that made him upset about Michelle?
Her sleeping around with other guys that he did not know about, multiple guys, like different partners.
But he said that Carla made that allegation.
Made that allegation. And he was hurt by it. I mean, that was his girlfriend. Carla Hudson and Trey, they live right here in this trailer.
We reached Carla Hudson by phone and asked her whether she had cautioned Lacey about Brimhall.
He would ask me things about certain things, but as far as cautioning him, he knew what she was doing.
Shortly after midnight, on the night before Lacey died, Whitney Michaels says they watched a car pull up to Brimhall's apartment.
I seen Michelle and a black gentleman getting out the truck and walking over there to apartment 16.
And what was Lennon's reaction when he saw that?
He was like, oh, wow, really?
Were you and Lennon seeing each other exclusively at this point? So this wasn't somebody you were romantically involved with?
No.
Was Lennon jealous?
In some ways, yeah.
Is it possible that Lennon might have gotten jealous seeing you with somebody else?
No, because I've always gotten along better with men than women. And I've always had more male friends than female friends. And Lennon knew this.
Later that night, family members say they heard Lacey leave the house through the back door. I have to ask you, Michelle, did Lennon, when he saw somebody going into your house at midnight that night, come over and confront you about that? No.
I am Lennon Lacey. I am Lennon Lacey. I am Lennon Lacey.
Theories about what happened to Lennon Lacey continue to hover over Bladenboro. Did an interracial romance end in violence? Did this area's troubled past come back to haunt it with a latter-day lynching? Or is it just as the medical examiner says, a teen suicide? Do you think it was suicide?
No.
What do you think happened, Michelle?
Honestly, I don't know. Maybe he come upon something, somebody doing something. I mean, because I don't see somebody just hurting Lennon for... It doesn't make any sense.
So what do you think happened, Whitney?
I think he was killed. I really do.
If Lennon was killed, do you think the killer is still here?
Yes.
I've always said that from day one. Prove it to me. How did he do this to himself?
Claudia, who do you think did this?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Nobody has any idea. I tell you what, his ex, I believe she has all the idea. I think she knows exactly what happened and who did it. And she's sitting there talking about she doesn't think it had anything to do with her. I think it had everything to do with her. Okay? I think that guy Dewey had something to do with it too. I absolutely do. What was she doing with a 17-year-old child anyway, freak? I mean, hey, but here's the thing. The age of consent down there in North Carolina is 16 years old, which is crazy if you ask me. 16 years old. That's the age of consent. Please pay attention. Now, this is about
I
JV.
want y'all to make something make sense for me. Imagine that you are working. You have your CDL, which is your commercial driver's license. Your job is to make deliveries. You are working and you are making a delivery. You're actually not even making this delivery alone. You are with someone. You are later found in a park hanging on a tree. The police come to the scene of the crime and they assess that this is a suicide. I want to understand how that makes sense. Tell me how that can be the conclusion to your story. That was the conclusion for Javion McGee, who was a 21-year-old man who was found hanging on a tree in Henderson, North Carolina, without his phone and without his wallet, and it was deemed a suicide. I want to know how that math works. I want to know how that works. And if you don't know anything about Henderson, North Carolina, let me give you a little quick fun fact. It is plagued with racism and is the stomping ground of the KKK today as we speak. My brother, we know it was not a suicide. Justice will be served. A lynching was committed in Henderson, North Carolina. I got to call a thing and a spade a spade. I'm sorry to you. And I'm sorry that we devalue Black bodies so much that you will play with the intelligence of people to make them think and believe that an act like this was suicide. Be for real. But I'm for real. I'm sorry to you. And I'm sorry to the family. I want y'all to make something make.
Said the Klan is still alive and well. Absolutely, they are. Absolutely, they are. I mean, nothing has changed. Listen, the devils have just found more creative ways to do their lynchings.
TikTok, but my family desperately needs your help. This is my little cousin, Javion McGee. He's from Chicago, Illinois. He was 21 years old and would have been 22 in a few weeks. He was found hanging from a tree in Henderson, North Carolina yesterday. He drove trucks, so that was his reason for even being out there. The police officers are trying to say that he went to Walmart and purchased the rope and hung himself. We obviously don't believe that, and we are just asking for your help to push his story out there. This isn't covered on any local platforms. No news stations, radio, none of that. So we're trying to push it out there. We really need your help. The police officers in the coroner's office are giving us a hard time, not allowing his mom to identify the body. At one point, they told her she can't identify the body due to COVID. And then the next day, today, they told her the father has to give her permission for that, which he said that he would. She asked if they could send her pictures at least. They told her yes, and then turned around and told her, oh, I don't think that you want to see your son like that. Come on. Like, this is just very devastating for my family, and we really need to push this story out there. So if y'all could please repost this video, keep saying his name, Javion McGee. Hey, y'all.
Now, here's the thing. This is what the devils do. Let me tell you something. They don't want the parents or the parents or guardian to see them, because of likely they've been beaten so badly, okay, about their face. Also, they don't want anyone to do what Mrs. Mamie Till Mobley did when she dared to show Emmett Till's face to let the world see how wicked and hateful people can be, okay? But that's what they don't want. Because remember, they didn't let Nolan's mom identify him either. They used his dental records. That's what they did. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. Now let's go back to that time. The 8-year-old little boy, they tried to hang him. An attempted lynching, no less. And nobody got any consequences. They said there wasn't enough evidence. Not enough evidence in near hanging for hate crime. Let me tell you something. How do they mean not enough evidence? That child had rope burns across his neck. 8 years old, a little 8-year-old biracial boy. Okay? Rope burns around his neck. So anyway, says almost 2 years after an 8-year-old biracial boy was nearly hanged in New Hampshire, the state attorney general's office concluded Wednesday there wasn't enough evidence to show the episode was racially motivated. Do y'all hear this BS? First of all, anytime a person that doesn't look like us tries to hang one of us from a tree, it's always racially motivated. What else is it? I mean, they literally have a history of lynchings in this country. It's, in fact, a part of their culture. So the report said the 8-year-old put a tree swing rope around his neck in 2017, copying the actions of a 13-year-old boy and another teen who had jumped from a table and landed uninjured. Now, when the youngest boy tried it, the 13-year-old pushed his legs, causing him to fall. The report says that the boy hung by his neck, but then the rope either slid off or he untied it. Still, the rope caused significant abrasions and contusions, but the report found there was not enough evidence to charge the 13-year-old with a hate crime or a civil rights violation. This is so darn crazy. So Scott Nealand, a cousin of the 8-year-old's mother, said Wednesday on Facebook that the family wouldn't comment on the findings and was trying to move on with their lives. They wouldn't comment on the findings, was trying to move on with their lives. See, this is the thing. Let me tell you something. Some of our people are cowards because if someone tries to hang your 8-year-old cousin, child, nephew, whatever, what do you mean you're trying to move on with your life? Honey, I wouldn't move on with mine and nobody else would be able to move on with theirs either with the amount of hell that I would raise. Do y'all hear this? Some of these Black people are so ridiculous. Like they just want to let this stuff go. They help the devil sweep them under the rug. The devils are sitting there sweeping it under the rug and they're standing there trying to stomp on the lump so nobody sees it. How crazy is that? Now, I understand that some of these people may feel intimidated or whatever, but I wouldn't give a darn. Okay, you can always move. But see, these are the Black people that they'll just leave alone because they're just going to keep quiet and accept what's been dished out to them. But this is why they're so mad at people like Mrs. Christine Wells Wansley, because she's not doing that. And another thing that I like about her is she's not responding to the devils. I wouldn't respond to them either. Who needs to explain themselves or even try to make logic or speak logic upon a MAGA minion? Okay, I'm going to start calling them maggots from now on. That's what we'll call them. Now, with that all being said, images of the boy's rope-burned neck were shared widely on social media, and prosecutors investigated the case as a potential hate crime. The images sparked outrage across the country and prompted a closer look at racism in the mostly white city of Claremont. Residents gathered and offered their support to the family. The school district examined how to respond to bullying better, and a community group was formed to promote equality. So they want to call this bullying. This is racial terrorism. That's what it is. Okay, it's ethnic intimidation. Okay, it's far beyond bullying at this point. Now, Wednesday's report acknowledged the 13-year-old shoved the younger boy earlier in the day, and that some of the older children had directed racial language at the boy and his sister. But it did not find clear and convincing evidence that a hate crime took place. I thought that the only thing you needed to prove for it to be a hate crime is that they did something that was racially motivated, and you knew that's what it was because they probably called them racial slurs in the midst of doing it. How hard is that? They were saying using racial language directed at him and his sister, and then they tried to hang him. And even though he probably tried to mimic what they did, they likely didn't even put the rope around their necks for real. They just tricked him so that he would do it. Now, when interviewed by investigators, the 13-year-old said he had only wanted to scare the 8-year-old. Really? Is that why they took off running and left him there, kicking and scratching around his neck, trying to get free of the rope? The teen leader pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor simple assault offense, and his case was referred to family court. No felonies. The incident itself obviously made people pay attention to things that are going on, and I'm all for that. This is what the town's police chief, Mark Chase, said, who's also acting as the town manager. He said he's all for it. Yeah, right. Now, asked about the findings, Chase said the report speaks for itself, but he said it also showed the investigators did their job to get to the truth. Something did happen. A little boy was injured. We hope we took the proper steps so it doesn't happen again. They didn't do any damn thing. What are you talking about? Those little thugs both should have gotten felonious charges. As far as I'm concerned, at least. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Now I want to go to this audio from Dr. Stacy Patton. Let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. I'm going to share my screen. She talks about these recent lynchings. Black people live under racial terrorism in America. Exactly. We absolutely do. Call it what it is. Call a spade a spade.
Black people don't hang themselves from trees. 15 Black people have been found hanging from trees since 2019, and Black folks have every right to feel suspicious as hell. By Dr. Stacy Patton. In August 1982, my biological mother wrote a note on a sheet of lined paper. The last sentence read, "I don't hurt anymore. Goodbye." She tied a bedsheet around her neck and hanged herself from a heating pipe inside her sister's house in Montclair, New Jersey. It was a private act that her family has been grieving for more than 4 decades. Yes, my mother took her own life, but what she didn't do was turn her beautiful Black body into one of the most recognizable symbols of racial terror in American history. She did not go outside and hang herself from a fucking tree. Breathe, Stacy. I'm beginning this piece with that awful moment, because I'm not going to participate in the myth that Black folks don't commit suicide. We do. Black men do. Black women do. Black children do. And back in my youth, I even tried because I believed then that dying before age 25 like my mother was my inheritance. CDC data show that Black people do use suffocation and hanging as a method for suicide. And yes, suicide among Black adults and children have been rising at alarming rates. But let's be clear, method is not setting. More than 70% of suicides occur inside a house or apartment. So a Black woman hanging herself from a heating pipe inside a private home is not a tree beside a church, in a park, on a college campus, or a backyard behind a vacant house. So, I absolutely refuse to believe that Black folks are out here repeatedly hanging themselves from trees. According to local reports, since May 2019, at least 15 Black people, including 3 teenagers, have been found hanging from trees in public or semi-public spaces across the United States. Other folks across social media have been compiling lists. Most of these deaths have been ruled suicides. And just this week, 29-year-old Tasia Fortune was found hanging from a tree behind a vacant house in Jackson, Mississippi. The Jackson Police Department hasn't said whether they suspect foul play, and her body has been sent to the Mississippi State Medical Examiner's Office for autopsy. In June, 27-year-old Tonia Nicole Miller of Flint, Michigan, traveled to Miami, Florida for Juneteenth. She was found hanging from a tree in a park. Once again, authorities called it an apparent suicide and said there was no evidence of foul play, but her sister said, "If anybody knew my sister Tonia Nicole, that's the last thing she would do. She loved life too much." The month before, a man walking his dog found 16-year-old Congolese immigrant Juliana Umbanzita hanging from a tree on the grounds of a Black church in Charlotte, North Carolina. A ratchet strap, which is typically used for securing truck cargo, was found wrapped around her neck, and a child-sized blue chair was found on the ground near her. Once again, police classified her death as suicide, and her family is questioning that conclusion. I could keep going down the list and tell you where each body was found, how they were found, what was tied around their necks, and quoting law enforcement concluding suicide and no foul play, and how the families aren't buying it. But I won't because this is depressing as hell. After writing a whole book about the lynching of Black children, I never imagined that I would be sitting here in 2026 compiling a list of Black bodies found hanging from trees. But here we are again. I can safely speak for many Black folks and confidently say, these hangings are suspicious AF because they occupy an entirely different historical and symbolic landscape. We have pattern-seeking minds. Are we supposed to look at these scenes and pretend like history never happened? Pretend like there haven't been more than 4,000 lynchings in this country? Pretend like we don't know that racist whites didn't leave Black bodies hanging in public to send a message? Pretend like police, coroners, newspapers, and courts didn't routinely help conceal lynchings? We know our grandparents' and great-grandparents' stories, and we know that Billie Holiday's song, Strange Fruit. And we also know that the official ruling ain't always the same as truth. Now, I can't sit here and say with any certainty that these 15 Black people found hanging outside were murdered. I know that suspicion and grief are not evidence. But Black folks are not going to unquestionably accept suicide as a cause, because we have learned over and over again that we cannot trust the word of police departments and coroners because of their long history of falsifying causes of death. We know the history of sheriffs who joined lynch mobs and grand juries that declined to indict folks who they know were guilty as hell. History gives us examples. For instance, back in 1922, 19-year-old George Tompkins was found hanging from a tree in Indianapolis with his hands tied behind his back with dirt covering his body. Now, the original coroner said that the teen was killed somewhere elsewhere, and then he was hung from the tree. But then his death certificate was changed to suicide, concealing the truth, and as a result nobody was arrested. His death was finally ruled a lynching 100 years later, in 2022. There was also the 1932 case of Shedrick Thompson, who was a Black World War I veteran. He was found hanging from a tree in Virginia after an armed white mob hunted, tortured, mutilated, burned, and hanged him. They also collected parts of his body as souvenirs. Although historians have treated Thompson's death as a lynching, his official suicide ruling has never been corrected. Most lynching cases in America were never seriously investigated. Records were either manipulated or lost. Law enforcement ignored witnesses and family members. And yes, Black folks have repeatedly been told that our people have committed suicide even when their bodies said murder. I don't know, y'all. Maybe there's a strange twist happening. Maybe all 15 of these cases could ultimately produce persuasive evidence of suicide. If so, then show us the evidence, the ligatures, the timelines, any surveillance footage, interviews with the people who last saw them alive. Let us hear from the independent experts who review the evidence and autopsy reports. All these families are entitled to answers, instead of being treated as obstacles to administrative closure. I've talked with many Black folks who are looking at these 15 gone and are saying they feel like we are being hunted. Honestly, I feel the same, because we are now living in a country in which white supremacists have zero shame. The threats are increasingly public. They hurl the N-word at us on camera. And just about every civil rights apparatus has been dismantled by the Trump regime, which has normalized white nationalism and political violence. So Black folks have to stay vigilant, practice self-defense, and not surrender to authorities that want to declare Black death ordinary. At the end of the day, these 15 deaths might not be lynchings. But you cannot place Black bodies in trees, invoke one of the most racially terrifying images in American history, release almost no information, keep telling us apparent suicide or no foul play, and gaslight Black folks' suspicion by calling it ignorance or conspiracy. As my elders always say, we wasn't born yesterday. Thanks for reading. If this piece moved you or made you think, please consider becoming a paid subscriber. Your subscription keeps my Substack fueled and unfiltered.
Okay, absolutely egregious. And the list goes on. And mind you, these are just the ones that we know of. Okay, just the ones that we know of. Now let's go to Soraya Henderson. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Just a couple more to go. And now I had not heard of this young lady. Like I said, I just found out about this morning. Soraya Henderson was in Florida. And it was just maybe a month or so ago, if I'm not mistaken.
A woman was reportedly found hanging from a tree behind a Dollar Tree establishment in St. Petersburg, Florida. And we want to know what happened to Soraya Henderson. She is 29 years old. She is from Tampa, Florida. And according to her obituary, she passed away on July 1st, 2026. Her funeral was held on July 18th, 2026. I don't know if that's the date she was found, which is July 1st, or the date that she actually passed away. That is up in the air right now at this point. Weeks later, her family is still searching for answers, and the public is asking why so little official information has been released. Her family and community members have publicly stated that she was found hanging behind a Dollar Tree in St. Petersburg and has been pleading for anyone with information to come forward. After doing my own research, I could not find any public announcement from the St. Petersburg Police Department, the medical examiner, or prosecutors examining the official case and manner of Soraya's death. I could not find any publicly announced arrest, suspects, or investigative findings. It's really giving off as if no one cares. Although that may not be the case, it's just what it looks like. That doesn't necessarily mean that investigators are not working on this case. We just want to know, why is it so quiet? So these questions remain. Who found Soraya? Was surveillance footage collected from the Dollar Tree or nearby businesses? What did the medical examiner determine? Has anyone been identified as a person of interest? Those are fair questions, right? And I believe that her family deserves clear answers. I'll continue following this case closely. If investigators release new evidence, an autopsy finding, or announce an arrest, I'll bring those verified updates straight to you. A young Black woman was reportedly found hanging from a tree behind a Dollar Tree establishment in St. Petersburg.
Now, have any of you heard about this story? Because like I said, I hadn't heard a thing about it. Had you heard about this story? Because I didn't see any news coverage on it. Only thing I saw was him doing a TikTok, and a couple of people posted about it, saying that there's another Black woman found hung. Okay. I ain't heard a word about it. Didn't see it on anybody's news station or anything like that, which I find all interesting. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Now we're going to go to the last person, and this is Mr. Otis Bird. Okay, here we go.
So overnight, our forensics team completed a search based on a discovery from the State Fish and Wildlife Agency, who yesterday found the body, which was confirmed to be Otis Bird. The state medical examiner today confirmed that, and we've just recently briefed the family as to those findings. So far today, there are approximately 30 agents from the FBI, the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation, and other state and local agencies who are out trying to identify friends and family that we can gather additional information that might help us paint a picture as to the cause of death of Mr. Bird.
We got to the scene, probably I got a call about 10:21 that Fish and Wildlife had found him, had found a body. And we got down there, it was a Black male that was hanging from a tree. At that point, we called in the FBI because it was something when you have a hanging in Mississippi, it goes a little bit further than local. You have to get the federal involved because we want to make sure that we dot every I, cross every T. And because we know in Mississippi, there's, for first thing, find a black person hanging, race becomes an issue. And I wanted to make sure that I address that issue first.
It could be something. But I didn't know his name or anything until this black guy I was talking to, and he told me the man's name and that he he'd been in prison.
Now I want you all to pay attention. Now, why did they feel the need to bring up the fact that he'd been in prison? What does that have to do with anything? Because the Associated Press put that in the title. Okay, please pay attention. And then, now here's a video of, this goes to show how childish and stupid and petty they can be. This video is about some workers found a rope hanging from a tree outside of the Apex Museum on Auburn Avenue. I mean, they really be trying it.
Found hanging in a tree. Take a look for yourself. The rope tied here to the tree, just steps from the entrance of a museum dedicated to Black history. Workers say the discovery left them shaken because it looked like a noose. Atlanta police investigated, but then called in Georgia Homeland Security to take another look. 11 Live's Cody Alcorn live outside of the Apex Museum this evening along Auburn Avenue. Cody, you spoke with one of the museum workers who actually found that rope.
That's right, Jennifer, and she told me the timing and location cannot be ignored. On Auburn Avenue, the heart of the civil rights movement, a rope found hanging from a tree outside the Apex Museum.
This was not okay at all.
Kyler Winston Kendricks.
We teach people about human history. We are specific to Africana history.
Works inside the museum.
We're a Black History Museum.
Which is why she says this can't be brushed aside.
No, this is the right moment to talk about it because we have to have these conversations so that way this can stop happening.
Atlanta police responded Wednesday afternoon, roped off the parking lot, and requested assistance from Georgia Homeland Security.
They're like, oh, it's not classified as a noose. It's too small. And I'm like, the inference is there.
In a statement, Atlanta police said officers are investigating the circumstances. At this time, there is nothing significant to report.
Which is insane.
Winston Kendricks finds it hard to believe this was just a random rope hanging from a tree next to a Black History Museum in downtown Atlanta.
It might be a funny joke to somebody who did this, but it's not that. You know what you're doing in the midst of all of this going on right now. To realize that we're one human race. We could talk about other stuff later, ethnicities, cultures, but we have to respect one another as human beings.
Museum staff tells me they plan to move forward with their work here in the Sweet Auburn neighborhood. They also plan to have more of these conversations. They say are needed now more than ever. And by the way, they are working on their next exhibit coming in September, commemorating the 1906 Atlanta Race Massacre. Live in downtown Atlanta, Cody Alcorn, 11 Alive News.
All right, Cody, thank you.
Okay, and just like I told you all on yesterday, it's Mississippi first, then Alabama, then Texas, and then Georgia. Okay, now if you ask me, it's just a darn shame that these things continue to happen. And you know, I'm inclined to think that that logo on Timberland on the shoes, on Timberland shoes, Timberland, not Timberland, that's the producer. But with that all being said, I just find it interesting because that symbol looks just like the hanging tree, if you've ever seen it. And if you haven't, here it is.
Another Queen Amadaya production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading no light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Put my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide.
You all see that? That's the hanging tree. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? I mean, that looks like what's on the Timberlands. That's what that looks like. What's on those shoes?
Another Queen Amadaya production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading no light, trying to bring me down. Enemy.
Isn't that what that looks like? But they'll swear it's not it. They said it's a myth. That's what they said. Hold on, beloveds. Yeah, here it is. No, Timberland doesn't celebrate the lynching tree. This was an article from 2019. They said the claim that Timberland's tree logo is a hanging tree or a reference to the lynching of Black Americans is a false urban legend. Please sit down somewhere. The logo simply depicts an oak tree chosen because the brand name Timberland means land covered with trees, representing the nature, the outdoors, and rugged footwear. Yeah, well, I believe that when I see it. Okay, because right there it looks like that darn tree, and that's what I've always heard about Timberlands. That's what I've always heard. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance. It's a darn shame. I'm going to go to this next clip. And we already talked about him, but this is a interview with his family that made the news that I have forgotten about. So I'm going to share my screen. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share.
Laughing, he was laughing, but he was like cracking up.
It's Crystal Gully's favorite picture with her brother, Otis.
And I'm like, I don't want to wear a dress.
Childhood memories do little to soothe the pain her family's feeling now since Otis is gone.
Nobody should have to go through this. Nobody.
My daughter and my youngest son showed up and told me that they found his body.
It was May 27th. Police found 31-year-old Otis Gully dead on Rocky Butte. The medical examiner's office ruled his death a suicide. His family says that's hard to believe.
There was nothing, suicidal about it. He was in good spirit. He was happy.
I know he did not commit suicide. No doubt about that.
Otis's mom says her son was diagnosed with bipolar schizophrenia. He was also transgender and homeless. She worried about his safety.
He would say, "Mom, I can't stay," and then he would go back out there. But he was hanging around a crowd that I was concerned about.
It's one reason family members don't believe Otis took his own life. They hoped investigators would dig deeper into the case. Instead, they felt officers wrote them off.
Is it because he's gay, Black, homeless that the police didn't want to deal with it? This is not fair because he's a human being. Everybody's life matters.
On Tuesday, police issued a new statement asking the public for information and or video related to Otis's death. They also stressed the medical examiner's office, not police, determined the cause of death. Crystal Gully hopes it leads to justice for her brother and closure for her mother.
I just want her to get the answers that she needs and then to treat her son like he was a human.
Otis's mother says people who knew him have reached out to tell her they believe he was killed, even giving her a name of a suspect. Police are hoping those people will talk to officers about what they saw. We know it can be tough to hear stories like this, no matter the cause of death. We want you to know if you or someone you know is struggling with thoughts of suicide, you can find help 24 hours a day. The number to call is 1-800-273-8255.
Okay. With that all being said, hold on. Let me read a couple of these comments. The corruption is real. Absolutely. If only trees could talk, maybe justice could be served. I wish, beloved. I absolutely wish. I saw someone said, don't confuse it with the tree of life. Absolutely not. Now, if you all follow the spiritual channel, you know exactly what the tree of life is. Okay. With that all being said, I want to talk about these racist companies, okay, that some of you all still shop with, and how they've come out and given these very disingenuous apologies, if you ask me. Because if they were not racist, they wouldn't say or do things that they know are very offensive and that people are absolutely going to take as racial. Okay? Please pay attention. Let's first of all talk about H&M. I know you all remember H&M. They had the little black boy was the coolest monkey in the jungle, with the little white boy was like the tiger, the lion, the bear. You know, that's what the little white kids were, but the little black child was a monkey. Ridiculous. Just stereotypical BS, period. Now let's go to Gucci. Plenty of you still wear it, even after this. Honey, you couldn't pay me to wear Gucci after seeing that. You could not pay me after seeing that. And here's the thing, a lot of these black celebrities spend money on all this stuff. I mean, they could at the very least buy from black designers. That way, you don't have to pay about people treating you racist and being disrespectful blatantly right in your face. Just so ridiculous. And then the Fashion Institute of Technology. Now, this one takes the cake, if you ask me. What's that all about? Y'all see that? Now, I want you to pay attention, because the only reason that a white person is wearing this is because they tried to get a black model to do it and she refused. Good for her. Who the hell would wear that? Monkey ears and lips and thick eyebrows. Okay, is that a joke? It's absolutely egregious. Now, I'm just showing you all of this because you see, we talked earlier this morning, for those of you who missed it, about a boycott. And we need to start boycotting these people. Every time there's a black person hanging on a tree, something has to be done about it. We need to start boycotting. Anytime they say that it's nothing to see here, folks, and they say it's an accidental drowning, we need to do something. Okay, we need to start boycotting these places, because the devils only care about blood and revenue. They know that black people love to look nice and are so caught up with fashion, some of you, and you just want to spend all these thousands upon thousands on foolishness, and haven't even bothered to try and acquire generational wealth. As long as you look good for the day, I guess that's it. I guess that's all what's important, right? Yeah, they said the devil wears Prada, right? Look at that. That's Prada for you. I mean, everybody clowns us. Okay, in case you missed it. All of these name brands just clown the hell out of us. I remember when that Gucci whole situation started, T.I. came out advocating against them, then told us, oh, we're going to boycott them for 3 months. First of all, how is that going to accomplish anything? What is that even going to do? They may lose a few dollars, but they don't care about that because they know you're going to come right back. 3 months later, you literally told them how long the boycott would be. Who does that? Okay? And it should have been permanently, just like we said about the Asians. Why should we give them a pass? Oh, that's right, because certain black people want to just dress in their BS. Okay? Never mind how they treat us or what they say or think. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Listen, I'm going to go to this Walmart video, and then, we're going to talk about some of these people that apologize. First of all, let's go to Gucci. Gucci had the audacity to come out with an apology, and I wasn't trying to hear a word of it. Okay? Gucci deeply apologizes for the offensive caused by the wool balaclava jumper. We consider diversity to be a fundamental value to be fully withheld, respected, and at the forefront of every decision we make. Full statement below. Every statement they make, the BS is real. The BS is absolutely real. Pay attention. Now, they go on to say, they deeply apologize for the offense caused by the wool balaclava jumper. We can confirm that the item has been immediately removed from our online store and all physical stores. We consider diversity to be a fundamental value to be fully upheld, respected, and at the forefront of every decision we make. And we are fully committed to increasing diversity throughout our organization and turning this incident into a powerful learning moment for the Gucci team and beyond. Have they done that yet? Have they even done that yet? No, they haven't, but y'all are still shopping with them. This is what these people think of you. Look, I wouldn't be a fool if my nickname was Fool, as my aunts used to say. Okay, I absolutely would not. These people are so disrespectful, and they sit there and mock us boldly and blatantly to our faces. And you mean to tell me some of y'all are still going to wear their clothing? Yeah, you have to be vanity slaves or mentally enslaved. One of the two, take your pick. But this is all crazy. There's no way in the hell I would ever wear Gucci or any of these other name brands that have said these things. Okay, I just wouldn't do it. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Now, we know what Walmart did with the images of these clothing items hanging from the ceiling, looking like whole dead people. Then they want to come out and try to issue an apology. Please. Walmart apologizes for racist incident in Bozeman store. This was reported January the 15th of 2018. They say in light of a lawsuit filed by the ACLU of Montana on behalf of Dr. Gilbert Calland, Walmart has officially apologized for the racism Dr. Calland endured in its Bozeman store. Well, here's the thing. You could apologize all you want, but I'm still going to do what I have to do. Now, why are these people so forgiving? Some of them. Okay. So they apologize. So that's the end of it. That would only be the beginning for me. I promise you that. That would only be the beginning. Now, in February 2016, Dr. Calland, a tenure-track MSU professor and a Black Montana resident, went to Bozeman's Walmart to renew his fishing license. Soon after, he realized that a Walmart employee had deliberately and manually typed Dr. Calland's profession as toilet, as cleans toilets. That's what he said on the license. Dr. Calland returned to correct the license and asked for a written apology. Walmart refused to apologize. Well, y'all hear this? Yeah, they refused to apologize. In August of 2016, the ACLU of Montana filed a Montana Human Rights Bureau complaint on behalf of Dr. Calland, alleging that Walmart discriminated against him on the basis of race. Now they go on to say Gilbert Calland stood up to a giant corporation to show that Montanans who experience discrimination based on race, national origin, or any other protected class have recourse, and that such discrimination is obviously illegal. We commend his courage, character, and taking on this fight for justice. This is what Caitlin Borgman, ACLU of Montana Executive Director, said. In the apology, I want to hear this. In the apology, Walmart called the incident unacceptable and promised to undertake measures to help safeguard against this type of incident in the future. But did they do that? Did they do that? No, they have not. Okay, they have not. We saw how they had the clothing hanging from the ceiling. Okay, we see how they stopped Black people who've paid for everything in their cart. And we see how they will go up to them and stop them and demand to search their items. You know what? If that ever happened to me, I would absolutely let them go ahead and search everything in the cart. I wouldn't make any fuss. I would not argue. I would let them take their own sweet time and search everything piece by piece. And as soon as they were done, I'd go get right in the customer service line and demand a refund because I don't want shite out of here because y'all must have me effed up. Okay? And that's what every Black person's attitude should be. I mean, why would you continue to put up with BS? Now, Bozeman's former mayor, Carson Taylor, described the city as proud to be inclusive to all people, saying that we value a diverse community because connecting people of different backgrounds and cultures broadens our views and enriches our life and experiences. When anyone experiences racism, our community is degraded, and we all feel the loss of civility and kindness that we expect in Bozeman. Sounds rehearsed and scripted clearly. I am personally honored to stand behind Mr. Calland and commend his courage in standing up to racism. That person, whoever that was, must be one of those. Okay? Must be one of those. It's the only thing that makes sense. Now, let's listen to what this white guy said, because if you ask me, what he said is very dangerous. And quite frankly, despicable. And it seems to me as though he's trying to give a dog whistle to other white men to start shooting black men. I want y'all to pay attention. Okay, not one word's a lie. Let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share.
If you're a white man dating black women in this country right now, your life is in danger. The reason why no one is ever talking about this.
I hate when that happens. I don't know how that happened. Hold on, beloveds. Let me pull it right back up. Now, he starts off saying if you're a white man dating a black woman in this country, your life is in danger. So black men are going around here threatening them? No, they're not. Okay, these devils think they're so slick. Now, like I just told you all, I showed you all a video a couple of days ago, with a white man talking trash about black men dating the white women and how they need to stand up. The white men need to stand up and be white men again and all of that. That was a dog whistle. And guess what? So is this. And any black woman dating him is a fool. And I want you all to pay attention to something. There are some black people that we're going to have to leave behind. We cannot defend them. We cannot deal with them. We cannot have them in our presence. Anyone that's black dating him, there's something mentally wrong with them. Okay? And we have to let them fend for themselves. Period.
If you're a white man dating black women in this country right now, your life is in danger. The reason why no one is ever talking about this is, one, because it's the least common dating dynamic and racially, and two, because the only people who feel like they have
the reason no one's talking about it because it isn't a thing. Okay, there's no such thing as black men going around being mad and wanting to fight or hurt or harm white men for dating black women. It's the exact opposite. Here they go yet again, trying to throw down the reverse Uno card. Please pay attention.
platform to talk about it are black women. But I believe I have a platform to talk about anything I want. So I will. If you're like me and you date black women, you need to have a firearm on you at all times. You need to have a concealed carry with you at all times. The reason I say this is because when I bring a black woman with me in public, I can't tell you how many times I've been threatened. I've had black men attempt to intimidate me, attempt to stare me down, and act completely inappropriate and violent towards me just because I have a black woman with me. When you think about like interracial racism, you think about white men who criticize white women for dating black men, which is just as stupid and ridiculous. But this is a whole other level because it's blatant, it's in public, and there's no shame because no one, the collective conscience of this like country is not aware of it. So that's why I'm talking about it. And I feel like if you haven't heard this and you're like me and you're a white man who's dating a black woman, you need to get on this immediately and get yourself protected.
Okay, is he being stupid or what? Because why is he grinning and smirking at the end like it's a darn joke? That's what I'd like to know. There's nothing funny about what he said. And if that's his idea of a joke, okay, he sounds ridiculous. And like I said, if there's any, and let me tell you what I did see when I was looking at his comment section, there was a couple of ignorant black women, and this is what I'm talking about right here. Now listen to this. This one fool said, my boyfriend got jumped because of this. I screamed at all of them and didn't stop until somebody called the police. Well, why didn't you call the police, fool? Rather than sit there screaming if it really happened. Because you know why? Because it didn't happen. She doesn't even look like a black woman, okay? Period. Nothing black about her. Then another one says, my white dad had to fight off 5 dudes in a movie theater when he dated my mom. She's black. He had to be about it for real, for real. Sit down somewhere. None of these women, I'm telling you right now, neither one of the two look like they're black at all. Now, we could say they're passing, but I don't even believe they're black in the least because black men are not going around here trying to mess with them because black men don't really care. Okay? The most they're going to do is talk trash if they think there's a problem, but they're not out here trying to fight over women that don't want them. That's what they are doing, the MAGA minions. Okay? Isaac Catano says, that Gucci girl was wearing half a blackface. Oh, what's the link for the spiritual channel? Chinese Natasha doll on purse. Moderators, please drop the link for the spiritual channel. Thank you for your insight into the topic, beloved, and your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, I'm about to be out of here. I'm going to conclude this broadcast. Listen, I have said what I had to say. At the end of the day, it's all up to you all. You want to keep spending your money on these brands and companies that really don't like or care anything about us, go right ahead and suit yourself. Okay, but I, for one, will not. It's time to boycott. We have to do something. Okay, you have to do something. You can't just keep putting up with these things. It's just ridiculous at this point. All right. And so with that all being said, I hope you all enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. And until next time, I will talk to you all again soon. Peace.
Oh yeah, I'm on your ass, I just got to know. What up with that audio? Well, we not gonna stop. No, no, we won't go. I'm hugging your parents in spirit. Yeah. We on this case and we demand answers. Oh, they expose. The real queen of receipts dropping. Oh, and we got your back. Somebody gon' talk. Hell yeah, the ancestors walking. I'm so serious. Queen on the case. Oh, they asking full-blown panic now. They trying to shut us down, close our mouth. But I just won't. Damn that. Well, we not gonna stop. No, no. I'm hugging your parents in spirit. Yeah. We on this case and we demand answers. Oh, they expose. What happened to you? We tied. You don't get the all my kids ain't cover it up. I said, show yourself. Yeah, steady talking about they was his friends. I said, show up and talk if that's the case. Hold on, Nolan, it's coming to the light. Yeah, the queen on the case. Hold on, Nolan, we won't give up. Rest in his peace. We all love you. No. Nolan. Well, we not gonna stop. No. We won't go. I'm hugging your parents in spirit. Nolan, we on this case. Dropping. We got your back. Somebody